All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Problem With. This is the podcast where we break down the chaos behind the headlines and call out the systems that protect the powerful at the expense of the rest of us. Now, if you've been rocking with me for a while or just started listening, you already know the deal. That we were supposed to just have episodes on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So in Mondays, we're supposed to be like a chill day or for me to record the deep dives and do more research and all that. And it was a space to unpack all that stuff. And Saturdays, again, there was the deep dives, the multi-part investigations, the long-form stories that tied all together. But Mondays, we have to add episodes on Monday. Because, let's be real, the world is moving fast, way too fast. And this is going to be more of a frustration, just like the Wednesdays, when we talk about the lies we tell. And while most of us are here just trying to survive, pay the bills, raise our kids, and maybe get a decent night's sleep, the Trump and his allies are running a masterclass in chaos. It's a distraction campaign and it's madness by design. So they're flooding the zones with so much noise and so much indictments, court dates, viral clips, and manufactured scandals that nobody knows what to focus on. And while we're scrambling to keep up, they're reshaping the system right under our feet. So Mondays are no longer optional. They are necessary to keep up with what's going on in this country and the world. This is where the space we cut through the smoke, name the distractions, and connect the dots. And today we're talking about the two faces of American justice. And I know you're probably saying, like, come on, didn't you just already talk about this on your series? Yes, however, this is a follow-up to that as well. So here was what I mean. One face, the one that smiles and winks when you're loyal to power. That hands out pardons like party favors to the corrupt, the violent, and the openly criminal, as long as they stay on brand. And the other face is the cold, cruel, and unrelenting that locks up innocent men for simply existing in the wrong body, with the wrong skin tone or the wrong zip code. So this is where we go to lay bare. It's this kind of episode that hurts to say out loud, but needs to be heard even more. So let's dive into this. All right, so with this, let's talk about the subject I was going to talk about today, and that one that caused me to have to do Monday episodes now. And let's talk about Mahendra Patel. You probably have heard the name already, and if you have, then this might be nothing new to you, but if you haven't, then you will be really outraged of what I'm about to say. So Mahendra Patel, a 57-year-old Indian American engineer, a father, a neighbor, a man who just wanted to buy Tylenol for his sick mother. But it was on March 28, 2025, so this year, Patel walked into a Walmart in Georgia, just doing what all of us do, running errands, and he just walked up to a woman named Carolyn Miller, who was riding one of those motorized scooters with her two kids, and he asked for help finding the medicine aisle. That's it. He didn't touch her, he didn't yell, he didn't cause a scene. But what happened next? That's where things get really, they spiral. Then Carolyn Miller calls 911 and says this man, Mahendra Patel, tried to kidnap her 2-year-old child. She claims there was a tug of war over the kid. Within days, so 3 days, Patel is arrested and charged with attempted kidnapping, battery, and assault. And just like that, his life turns upside down. There was no knock at the door, nor careful questioning. No, they just said, "Hey sir, can you explain?" No, not even a, "Hey, what happened here?" Instead, the cops show up with handcuffs, throw him in jail, and treat him like a predator. And then, to make matters worse, they denied him bond. Not once, not twice, but for 6 whole weeks. This man sat in cells for 45 days without bond, while video evidence proving his innocence was available the whole damn time. And the worst part is that Carolyn Miller went to news around the news cycle saying that her side of the story and everybody bought it. But then once the evidence was proven, silence. Nothing. She was saying she didn't want to talk to anybody anymore. So let me break this down, not just emotionally but legally, because I want you to see how broken the system is, step by step. This is what should have happened if Mr. Patel was given due process, or the common white collar or the white person treatment. Step 1, immediate investigation. When an accusation like this comes in, especially one as serious as child kidnapping, law enforcement is supposed to secure the scene and begin a prompt and neutral investigation. Like, this is criminal justice 101. You don't just arrest someone on site. You gather facts, you review surveillance footage, and which Walmart had and was available immediately. And then the footage shows Patel briefly leaning towards the child, then stepping back, putting his hands in his pockets and walking away. He didn't snatch the kid. He didn't even make contact. The video alone should have raised serious doubt. Step 2, interviewing the witnesses. There were other people around, customers, employees, bystanders. 2 witnesses, including a Walmart worker, reportedly said they didn't see anything close to what the mother described. Yet somehow this was not enough to stop the wheels of prosecution. How does the police department ignore corroborating witnesses? Easy. When they don't want to look too hard, when they already decided who's guilty based on how they look. Then step 3, intent and context. This matters. The courts are supposed to consider intent when evaluating criminal charges. There's a huge legal difference between actual assault and a misunderstanding, between trying to kidnap someone and simply asking a question near a stranger's child. Everything about Patel's behavior, from what's seen on video to his calm demeanor with Walmart staff, points to a man who was confused, maybe awkward, but definitely not a criminal. Step 4, legal counsel and due process. After his arrest, Patel should have immediately been given access to legal counsel. He should have been a bail hearing where the judge looks at the charges, the evidence, and whether the accused is a flight risk or a danger to the community. Patel had a home, a job, and community ties. This man was not fleeing the country, he wasn't violent, he wasn't a repeat kidnapper, and still no bond for 6 weeks. Now, step number 5, bond hearing. Finally, it wasn't until May 6, 2025, after sitting in a cell for 45 days, that Patel's legal team was finally able to present the surveillance footage in court. They showed the judge the truth, that Patel never tried to abduct anyone. The judge granted bond, $10,000, and noted that Patel posed no flight risk and had strong ties to the community. And let me just say this, he never should have been there in the first place. Now look, let's be fair and transparent. Patel does have a criminal record. In 2006, he was convicted in a federal case for conspiracy to defraud the government, a white-collar crime. He also has a 2020 reckless driving conviction and a pending DUI case. But none of it has anything to do with what happened in that Walmart. You don't get to reactively justify an arrest by digging into someone's past once they already locked up. There's not justice, that's narrative control. What happened in March 2025 wasn't about public safety. It wasn't about evidence. It was about a system that believed a white woman's fear of a brown man's innocence. That's not just racial bias. That's a weaponization of it. Because let's be honest, if Mahendra Patel's name were Mike Patterson or Smith, and he looked like the cop next door, he would have walked out of that Walmart that day with nothing more than a weird story to tell. But instead, he was treated like a criminal, shamed, stripped of dignity, locked away with no due process, while prosecutors built a case on a lie. And even after the footage came out, they still indicted him. They're still pushing this forward in court, still wasting taxpayers' dollars, still trying to turn a misunderstanding into a conviction. This case is disgusting. Not just because of what it says about race in America, but because it shows how lazy the justice system can be when it thinks no one's watching. And it makes you wonder, how many other people are sitting in jail right now, just like him? People who didn't get the benefit of the doubt, people who didn't have video footage to save them, people who didn't get to go viral. And the contrast, it gets worse. Because next, we're going to talk about the man who actually did commit crimes, who did break the law. And it's not just one person, multiple. And instead of jail time, he got something Mahendra Patel never even got the chance to ask for. A pardon. So stick around. We're just getting started. Alright. So let's talk about justice, or more accurately, let's talk about whose justice. Because while people like Mr. Patel, an innocent man just trying to shop at Walmart, he gets arrested, jail, and forgotten for weeks over a white woman's false accusations. And there's a whole other system happening behind closed doors. One where you don't get punished for crimes. You get pardoned for connections. So let's pull out the receipts and brace yourselves, because these are minor misdemeanors. These are full-on federal crimes. And these folks, they didn't get cell blocks. They got a presidential blessings. So let's start with number one. Todd and Julie Chrisley. They are reality TV, real, and they're real fraud and then all that stuff. So you might know them as from Chrisley Knows Best. That squeaky clean Southern family reality show. What you may not know is that Todd and Julie Chrisley were convicted of defrauding banks out of $30 million and dodging taxes like it was a family tradition. Todd got 12 years. Julie got 7. But in May 2025, after just over 2 years, boom. Trump pardoned them both. Full unconditional pardon. Why? Because apparently they were victims of political targeting and harsh treatment. You know, the kind of harsh treatment where you only go to prison after stealing millions and lying to federal agents. Their daughter, Savannah, lobbied for them like it was her full-time job. And yes, Trump called her to personally let her know mommy and daddy were getting out. Because when you're rich, white, quote-unquote Christian, and on reality TV, you don't do real time. You do promo tours. Now let's talk about number 2, Scott Jenkins. Oh my gosh, this one is fantastic. Like, this is chef's kiss. Now, this one straight up, it's like this is a corruption documentary. Scott Jenkins, a former Virginia sheriff, was caught taking over $75,000 in bribes to hand out fake deputy badges. So he was literally selling law enforcement power to people with 0 qualifications. Just think about it. No academy, no training, just cash. And you too could be a cop for a weekend. He got 10 years in federal prison. But in Trump's America, loyalty trumps law. So in May 2025, he's pardoned because apparently he was a victim of political persecution. No, he's a crook. He was a crook with a badge, and now he's free to probably run for office. So people in Virginia, please get this man out of office. Come on, wake up. Then we have Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover, founder of the Gangster Disciples. Multiple life sentences, murder, drug trafficking, extortion, conspiracy. And suddenly in 2025, Trump commutes his sentence. Why? Hoover says he's reformed, that he wants peace now. Cool, great. Growth is important. But meanwhile, how many nonviolent drug offenders are still rotting in prison? How many people in Patel's shoes can't even get a bail hearing? It's just a performative thing. Then we have one that could be considered controversial among some of us. Depends on who you ask. But we have rapper NBA Youngboy, real name Control Golden. He was convicted of federal gun charges and involvement in a prescription drug ring. So this is serious stuff at a federal level. But in, again, May 2025, Trump swoops in with a pardon. Golden thanks him, says he wants to turn a new leaf, and maybe he will. I hope he does. But again, it's not about whether someone deserves redemption. It's about who gets the redemptions and who doesn't even get a lawyer. Then we have Russ Ulbricht. Russ Ulbricht created Silk Road, the dark web's Amazon for illegal drugs. Double life sentence plus 40 years. A lot of libertarians call his sentence excessive. So in January 2025, Trump made a good on-campaign promise and pardoned him too. Now, was Russ over sentenced? Depends on who you ask. But notice the pattern. It's the people with tech bros, Reddit cults, or celebrity followers that get attention. Mr. Patel, no Reddit army, no campaign promise, no second chance. And then we have this one that is just recent. And you probably did hear about this, and you know this case. Everybody knows this case, and we all know it's very disgusting. So we're going to talk about Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. He's currently facing federal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Yeah, like that's really real. This is really bad stuff. He hasn't stood trial yet, but just like Trump already said, he consider a pardon if Diddy asks. So ask yourself, who gets a pardon before the court even finishes? Like, what kind of country even floats that idea? I mean, again, you can answer that question on your own. So I know that's what some of y'all are thinking. But man, like some of these folks were treated unfairly. Okay, let's say one or two of them kind of were. Kind of. You know who else got treated unfairly? Mr. Patel. But he didn't get a call from Trump. He didn't get a photo op. He got a concrete cell and silence, because that's how this game works. This isn't justice. It's selective forgiveness. It's you get mercy if you're famous, white, or politically useful, but you get jail if you look like Mahendra Patel. And if you still think that's justice, then you're not paying attention. You're rooting for a system that'll pardon the powerful and punish the innocent, all while calling it freedom. So by now, you're probably seeing the pattern. And if you're not, let me spell it out for you. We don't have one justice system in this country. We have two. Two sets of rules, two different outcomes, two completely different realities, all based on who you are and who you know. One system is for the rich, white, powerful, and or politically connected, where crimes are quote-unquote mistakes, where felonies are treated like a PR hiccups, where being guilty doesn't really matter because redemption is always just a phone call and a campaign donation or a pardon away. And there's the other system for everyone else, for the broke, the brown, the immigrants. For the ones who can't afford high-power lawyers, who don't have a cable deal, who don't have a senator on speed dial. In that system, you can be innocent and still rot in jail. You can be helpful and still be accused. You can have proof of your innocence on video and still be indicted. So let me break down even clearer. If you're a sheriff who sells police badges for bribes and you back the right politician, you get a presidential pardon and a press conference. But if you're a 57-year-old Indian American engineer who asked the wrong person for help in Walmart, you get handcuffs, you get jail time, and you get silence. If you commit tax fraud for worth $30 million and you have your own reality TV show, oh, you get to go home. You get to post for Instagram. You get to write a book and thank Jesus on a podcast. But you're falsely accused and you're not famous, not rich, not white. You sit in a cell for 6 weeks, praying someone finally watches the footage that proves you did nothing wrong. That's not justice. It's a game. A rebranding of guilt and innocence based on celebrity, skin tone, and political utility. It's like the courts have two lines. One mark justice, the other mark connections. And guess what? If your skin is darker, your accent is thicker, as you have noticed my accent, your wallet is thinner, or your last name isn't easily pronounceable, you're getting pushed to the back of the damn line every single time. And let's be honest, this isn't just about Donald Trump. He didn't invent this system. He just stopped pretending. He took the quiet backroom corruption and turned it into a stage show. He hands out pardons like souvenirs. He brags about them on TV, and he does it because he knows no one will stop him. Congress won't stop him. The courts won't stop him. Hell, the media will cover it like it's entertainment and then move on to the next shiny distraction. Meanwhile, the people who are hurt the most, they don't get press conferences. They don't get prime time. They don't even get believed. They're too busy trying to survive. This is what inequality actually looks like. Not some chart on a PowerPoint. Not some vague phrase politicians toss around during election season. This is the real thing. It's about who gets the benefit of the doubt and who gets doubted by default. It's about who gets called a troubled genius and who gets labeled a threat the second they walk through a door. And I'm not exaggerating. We treat powerful white men who defrauded banks, sold government influence, and endanger lives like they just need a second chance and a good PR team. But we treat immigrants like Mahendra Patel as if they were born guilty, as if helping a child in a store makes you dangerous, as if kindness can be criminal. If it comes from the wrong person, we built a system where your freedom doesn't depend on what you did. It depends on who you are. So the next time someone tries to tell you, this is the greatest justice system in the world, you stop them and look them in the eye and ask, for who? Because if you're black, or if you're brown, if you're undocumented, if you're poor, Muslim, transgender, disabled, unconnected, you already know the answer. In this country, the only justice you'll see is the kind they print on a denial letter. Now you heard all of that, and I want you to sit with me for a second. Just sit down for a second. Maybe you are, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my rants. Now, I want you to think about the names you heard today. Names like Mahendra Patel. Not just him, but think of anybody who's been incarcerated unjustly in this system. It's like, now think about it, how close he came to being forgotten. If the surveillance video didn't exist, if the public hadn't started paying attention, if even one more person in that jail had looked away, he could have been just another immigrant name lost in the system. Another brown man falsely accused, locked up, and erased from the headlines before anyone bothered to ask what really happened. And the part that hurts, he's not the only one. There are thousands of Mr. Patels out there. People whose stories didn't trend, who didn't have a publicist or a lawyer or a news crew, whose families couldn't afford to fight back, whose cases never got a second chance because they weren't famous or white or politically convenient. And meanwhile, we're watching presidents hand out pardons like party favors, not because someone turned their life around, not because they earned redemption, but because they had power or they served it. This is what happens when we normalize corruption, when justice becomes a theater, when the pardon power becomes a tool of vengeance, a flex, not an act of mercy, but a message. Donald Trump doesn't care about justice. He doesn't care about fairness. He doesn't care about everyday people. He damn sure doesn't care about the Constitution. What does he care about? Power, loyalty, control. And most of all, making money off the chaos he creates. Every pardon he gives, it's a deal. It's a transaction. It's not about justice. It's about leverage. It's about saying, if you stand by me, I'll protect you. If you don't, you're on your own. This is a Trump doctrine. It's just like, protect the powerful, screw the rest. This is not leadership. That's mafia politics in a suit and tie. And I'll say it again. And I'm going to say it. If we keep going, if we let this keep going, if we pretend it's normal, we are complicit. But here's where you come in. You, the audience. Because people like Mr. Patel, the people who are discarded, dehumanized, and detained, they don't have lobbyists. They don't have reality TV shows or Twitter fan armies. They don't get calls from the president. They have us. So what do we do? Speak up. That's number one. Easiest thing. Even when no one's watching, especially then. Start talking to your families even when they start throwing racist and misinformed stuff. That's when you need to speak up. Call your representatives. Make them uncomfortable. Flood their inboxes. Tell them that we want justice for everybody. Tell them to stop just protecting the rich and wealthy. You need to educate. Also, 3, you need to educate your community. Everybody, we need to start conversations. We need to challenge the myths. I know this could be uncomfortable, but this is part of the process. For this, this is up to you. You can donate to legal aid organizations that fight these battles every day. But the one that you, as the audience, need to do every time, vote. Please vote. Vote like someone's life depends on it, because it does. And just one very important thing. don't forget. Don't forget the names that weren't saved by a camera. Don't forget the families still waiting for someone to care. Don't forget the people suffering in silence while the media moves on. And definitely, don't forget the ones profiting off of all this pain while pretending to be your savior. Donald Trump isn't a warrior for justice. He's a businessman. He's a con man, a man who pardons his cronies, punishes truth tellers, and wipes his feet. He wipes his feet with the Constitution like it's a hotel towel. And every time we look away, he gets bolder. Every time we say stay silent, he steps further into the spotlight. Please don't look away. Not now. Not with so much at stake. Not this close to the edge. We don't fix broken systems by pretending they are fair. We fix them by calling out the lies and choosing something better. All right, that's it for me today. That was the Monday episode of The Problem With. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been rocking with me, thank you. I do this because I believe we deserve better. Better policies, better leadership, better systems. But more than anything, we deserve truth. And that's what I'm here to give you. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Saturday. And speaking of Wednesday, make sure you come back for The Lies We Tell, because this week, we're going after one of the laziest, loudest lies in America right now. Kids these days don't know how to do anything. We're going to pull that narrative apart, piece by piece, because the real truth is not that the kids are broken. It's that the adults handed them a mess and called it a lesson. So yeah, I've got things to say. Until then, stay angry, stay loud, and stay free.